Hi, welcome to Out and About with Tom and Sherry. I'm Tom,
Hi, I'm Sherry.
and this video is about our trip to Istanbul in May 2025. I've always wanted to go to Istanbul, and I've never really understood why. Um, it just seems like an exotic place, and it is. It's kind of where the East meets West, and it's a big melting pot of world culture. So it spans two continents, and and so we went there in May, and it did not disappoint. It is as exotic as I had hoped.
Yes, it was the last stop on our cruise. We were on a 11-day cruise, I think that one was, on the Norwegian Viva. And it started in Rome, Civitavecchia, and then we ended in Istanbul. So we are going to share about our 3 days,
3 days in
three and a half
Istanbul.
days in Istanbul after the cruise. So
Yep.
thanks for joining us. So we ended our cruise on the Norwegian Viva in Istanbul on, I think it was May 18th, 2025. We got off about 8:39. Well, no, we finally got off the ship probably closer to like 11
11
a.m.
by the time we got
Yeah.
off the ship. Yeah.
Start off with one of the nice things in the room is the map that you get of where you're at.
Yep.
In your room, and we were in a balcony room. So this was the map on the morning we arrived in Istanbul. We started in Civitavecchia, so you see that up in the top left. We went to Naples, Catania, Alexandria, Egypt, Cyprus, Limassol, Rhodes, Kusadasi, and then Istanbul.
Yep.
So we captured the picture right at the right time.
Which in my mind, Istanbul was the highlight of the trip, of that particular cruise.
So as you're coming in the morning, you can see the city off in the distance. It was pretty kind of hazy, smoggy like coming in.
Yeah. Yeah, I looked at it like haze. It was probably more like smog, but I felt like it added to the mystique
Yes, that's true.
of Turkey.
I'm getting a little bit closer. You can start to see the buildings. And I think as we were arriving, we were having breakfast. So that's where we got these photos from.
Yep.
So you're starting to see more boats.
More boats, more port activity. So here we start seeing the architecture in Istanbul. The big kind of main thing you see there is the Blue Mosque, and then the tower, which is surrounded by scaffolding. That's the Hagia Sophia, which they're super close to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Quarter of a mile, maybe?
Not even that, I don't think. They're really close, and we'll see that in our pictures.
They're kind of across the plaza from each other.
Yeah. Lots of mosques. You see all kinds of mosques.
Yep.
They're kind of all over the place.
Yep.
And we're just coming in, like I say, to the port at this point. So pretty exciting seeing all of this architecture we're not used to seeing.
Yep.
And Turkish flags, big red Turkish flags all over.
If I'm not mistaken, there was a holiday.
It was the day that we arrived, I believe.
Kind of more of a minor holiday, but it was a holiday, and so there was a lot of banners and flags hanging up.
So this is getting a little bit closer to the port, coming in.
And on this picture, you can see that's a big communication tower. It's the Kamlisa Tower. It's the tallest point in Istanbul is the top of that tower, and it's a communication tower for TV, and I imagine they have cell phone and stuff like that on there.
We have some better shots of that coming up too.
Yeah, but it was outstanding how tall that was. It's kind of hidden. The top of it's hidden in the clouds. Ferry boats everywhere.
So the picture here with all the rain, it started to rain, and we were in the observation area of the Norwegian Viva. We thought that'd be a great place to sit and wait. So we did. We were able to see the different areas right there by the port. So that was interesting.
This is the Tofane Pavilion, which is a historic 19th century building. And it looked out of place to me there because it was like Western style architecture in Turkey, but it was neat looking. And the bus for us.
And the bus.
I thought that was pretty clever.
Nice play on words there.
Yep.
We never did use the hop on hop off bus, but
no.
They were around. You could see them all around. And so this is as we came out of the port. We had arranged for an Uber to pick us up. And right outside the port, so that you know, it is like crazy busy. Buses, taxis, Ubers, all over the place.
Crazy. And that is the Nazareti Mosque. And that's where we waited for our Uber. It was chaos there.
And a better picture of the chaos.
Yeah.
But then
there you can see the banners for whatever holiday it was. And there's somebody's picture on some of them.
So off in our Uber we go. And we pass these electric trains, I guess,
trains,
right?
Yeah, that just kind of rolled through town, kind of at a fast walking speed.
All over.
All over.
Yeah. So this is once we got to our hotel, we decided to walk around to kind of get a sense of where we were in the city. And so this is one of the areas that we walked by pretty consistently. Our little area. We stayed at the Doubletree by Hilton.
Yep.
In the historic district there by the Blue Mosque and the Hagia Sophia. So this was a little side street there, lots of these little streets, but then the architecture all around it, and it's just a hustle and bustle, but lots of different vendors and shops and whatnot. And we had to get money.
Yep. So I went and got money. What I found the best place to get money was use your debit card at an ATM associated with a bank. And I got on Google Maps and I said ATM near me and saw an ATM not too far away and went over there. And the ATM actually, there were several ATMs for several banks there. I picked one and stuck my card in and got out money. And Turkey really makes you feel rich because that looks like a lot of money there. That's actually about 40 bucks US. So yeah, don't be surprised when the items on the menu are over 1,000 Turkish lira.
Yeah. I think we have a copy of a receipt for our first meal.
Yep.
It's like 1,700 something.
Yeah.
You're like, whoa, wait.
You don't have to take out a second mortgage.
Yeah.
To buy dinner. This was a fun place. This was our first place in Turkey, and it was. I wanted to go sit on a couch with pillows, and this is what we found. One of the things I've never had a hotel, I don't think, that had a balcony like this. Well, here it is. Here's a picture from our balcony. This was outside our window.
Small little balcony.
Small little balcony, enough for a couple of chairs
nice.
or to go outside and look around. But yeah, it was just neat. There was a minaret there. That seagull you see at the bottom of the picture, turned out she had some babies.
More to come on that.
More to come on that, which was just delightful. And you could hear the prayers from the mosques, and you just really felt.
You were in the middle of a busy, busy city.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, there was a lot going on. But then at the same time, there was a little peaceful aspect to this. And maybe it's because of the seagull. But
yep.
We'll have more on that. So this is from our balcony also, looking to the left of our balcony area.
Yep.
And you can see the minarets of the Blue Mosque.
Is that the Blue Mosque?
Yeah, Blue Mosque. Hagia Sophia was closer to us, and the Blue Mosque was a little further. But again, as you can see, I mean, that's, super easy walking distance. And a lot of the restaurants around there and our hotel as well have these rooftop. You kind of see that burgundy colored canopy area. Had rooftop restaurant. Ours did as well.
Yep.
Great views. We have some pictures of that coming up.
Yep.
And this took me a minute here. This is from that rooftop restaurant at the Hilton we were staying at. The port. The cruise port is there, right in the center of the picture. You can see the ship. That's the Viva. It hadn't left yet. Like I say, we got in about 8:30, so it hadn't departed yet. So that's the Viva that we were just on, leaving for the same route, I believe, going back. So we did eat on that rooftop restaurant, and I had chicken fingers.
Yeah.
And this was Tom's dish. I
Yeah.
don't know what it was, but
It was I believe it was
curry?
a chicken curry
Okay.
with rice. It was good.
But here's this bill for $1,700 or 1,700 lira, Turkish lira.
Yeah.
And you look at it and you go, is that right?
Which is about $40 US. And Sherry wasn't comfortable going out and getting coffee. And that was something I really wanted to do, was drink Turkish coffee in Turkey. Seems appropriate to me. And so I walked, I don't know, not very far, and found this little coffee shop that was open. It's Turkey, like a lot of European countries, open up later. But I found some guy who was getting ready for the day and said, "Can I get some coffee?" And he said, "Sure." And it was the Turkish coffee made in the hot sand, and that's it. It's something you don't see much anymore in the U.S. is the ashtray on the table.
Mm.
But so I sat there and drank Turkish coffee in Turkey and just had some quiet time.
So our first place that we went was the Topaki
Topaki.
Plaza, which is the Ottoman Sultan Plaza, which was great. Loved it. So as you enter some of these different spots, you definitely do see armed guards.
Yep.
Some more military looking than others, but they're definitely there in spots.
Yep.
So we got over to the plaza, and they had these different informational boards. So this was great, So it was, in English and Turkish. So there were those throughout the complex. We did not get, headphones, audio tour, anything like that. We just wanted to walk around and read the information as we went on our own pace. And we did this on our own. We were not part of a tour group or anything like that.
Yep.
The palace was built after the conquest of Constantinople in 1453, between the years 1460 and 1478, by the order of, I'm not going to try and pronounce these, but Mohammed the Conqueror. It was constructed on the Byzantine Acropolis, located at the edge of the historical Istanbul Peninsula, which overlooks the Golden Horn, the Bosphorus, and the Sea of Marmars. So anyways, you can pause this if you want to read the rest, but it was nice to have these different displays along the way. Again, in experience, we've never seen an Ottoman palace before, so totally unfamiliar. So it was just really fascinating, and you really felt like you were entering a palace grounds. What did they say? 700 acres originally, I think. So, but again,
700,000 square meters. But not only was the architecture different, but you could see how different the culture was.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Which was fascinating.
Yeah. So this is the entrance coming in once you get through the turnstiles there. This is on the opposite side of the turnstiles, and you kind of get your bearing. You can go off in different directions, certainly if you're part of a tour group, but again, we did it on our own, and you could go. There were so many different buildings that you could go to, and so you just kind of pick a path, and off you go. So this is kind of that starting point for your entrance into the palace.
And we spent the better part of a day there.
Yeah, we spent a good amount.
And we didn't see all of it. We
didn't.
Saw half of. You could easily spend 2 days here seeing everything.
And we saw a lot, but there was a lot we didn't see. But again, more of these display sites, and as you can see, you can get the headphones for the audio tours as well. And then it was somewhat helpful, these little directional signs that was off to the right there. As to where you were going. It was a little confusing at times, but we kind of figured it out. So But the grounds, this courtyard grounds in the center was really pretty, very peaceful and
Yep.
lots of space. You certainly didn't feel too crowded in, except you were in like a small room or something. But as far as the general grounds, it was pretty wide open.
Yep. And that tree, I absolutely loved that tree. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure that tree was hundreds of years old, and you look at that tree and you just think about what that tree has seen in its time there.
So the first area that we were in was the harem area for the Ottoman sultans, which was really it just looked very Ottoman.
Yep.
The architectural style and whatnot. But they gave you, a little information to try and understand what this was. I think we all, American wise, we have a general sense of, a bunch of wives and whatnot for the Sultan. But it really kind of, the different displays kind of lended some more information to just the whole process, the regulations and whatnot. So that was really interesting.
One thing that I found, I guess interesting is the right word, but was the black eunuchs who were responsible for the service and protection of the women. It was just like, wow.
Yeah, it was really interesting.
And the tile work
Yeah,
was just
mosaic tile work
amazing.
all over this place, all over the palace. And these were just the various different rooms that were part of the harem, and they would have again information in each one, but just so elaborate and different. And then, of course, we don't know what they say. It says something,
Yep.
but we don't know. But these different, hallways and courtyard areas that you walk through. And occasionally, you could pick up a little insight from some of the tour guides as you walk by them, if they were, telling about, different things. On the stone walkways.
On the stone walkways,
Yeah.
different colored stones in there. Yeah.
It reminded me of what we saw in Rhodes. Rhodes had that a
Yep.
lot on the pavement.
Yep. And I tried Google Translate to read some of these signs, and it didn't work.
Just different rooms that you walked through.
And this was just a waiting area for the harem. That was, I believe, that was a shower or something.
That I don't know. Then you got into like the main, a waiting area or greeting area, I guess you'd say, for the Sultan that were sitting on various couches and things like that. So this was a really elaborate room. Gold all over, and yeah, it was pretty fancy. Just different angles of that same room. So that was, as I recall, that was a fireplace area, right? So I think that's kind of what those were. And a water fountain type area in there. And just more, informational. This courtyard was neat because you really got a view of the city. But again, the elaborate tile mosaics and decorative walls and floors, and yeah, it was very popular area. There's Tom. Can you find him in a blue shirt? But yeah, this the tile work on the outside. So it's not only on the inside, it's on the outside too. It's just everywhere. And this courtyard where they were doing some reconstruction work. This looked off past the palace into the city.
That's me again.
And then just going back inside from that courtyard area, moving into some of the other areas of the palace.
And one thing I noticed about the tiles, you can get mosaic tiles like that today, but each tile was individually painted. You couldn't just get, the tiles didn't fit together. They were all individually painted, and they had to be put on in the correct order.
Another just corridor, all different types of design. And this was like a replica kitchen area that would have been set up. And then, so then you head back out. So you go into different components of the plaza, right? So you always exit out into that main courtyard again, and then you decide, all right, where am I going now? To the next area. So this is, again, one of the courtyard, different view of that. So people are kind of queued up at the different entrances for the different complexes that are there. And just, a diversity of people. Next, we went into this chamber area, and this was neat. This was not only artifacts, but this is where the praying, the chanting was going on. So we've got a little video in here, and so we won't talk through that video once we get to that. But
They're sharing their scarf on. Their parents' scarf.
you do have to wear a scarf.
Yeah, women have to wear a scarf. Men have to take off their hats.
And again, just more the mosaics and tile and gold, and I mean every inch is covered.
The level
And then the various artifacts in these different areas.
That's Moses' staff. The sign said that is Moses' staff, Prophet Moses' staff, which I don't know. And this is Prophet Muhammad's footprint.
It looks pretty big.
It looks pretty big, and it looked a little perfect to me to be a true footprint, but I don't know. What do I know? That's John the Baptist's arm and a piece of his skull bone. And that is David's sword that I guess David slew Goliath with.
Oh, is that what they said?
That's what it says, yeah. Sword of the prophet David. And I love this guy here. That's just pure Turkey right there.
Again, you just you're walking around, you're seeing the artifacts, the walls, the ceilings, everything is just, there's so much to see.
And those letters, those are Prophet Muhammad's letters, actual letters that he wrote in the case for him. And then just some other cases here. Case for a beard hair from Prophet Muhammad.
The bridal veil of Fatma. This was kind of neat, authentic.
Yeah.
And we're back outside again, so we're going off to another area. And this was a really, we spent a lot of time in this area, just the views coming up, as well as the mosque, which Tom will talk about here in a minute.
Yep.
But these are the views, and there is that radio tower that Tom was pointing out in the beginning of the video. It's huge.
It's huge.
How tall did you say it was?
I don't know how tall it was.
It was remarkable.
It was, without a doubt, the tallest item in the area, including mountains.
So this is the
Strait of Bosphorus with the European continent on the left and the Asian continent on the right.
But then just, again, this is that east meet west area, right? You're just coming and going from all the different places. It was just a bustle of seawater, sea taxis, whatnot.
Ferries.
Cruise ships. I think I got an angle where you could see the port too.
Yep.
And so a lot of people just stood here and just kind of took this all in. It was just a gorgeous view in terms of just the activity and the ocean and the different continent reference. And yeah, there was a lot going on there.
We spent a fair amount of time just standing there taking it in.
And then just over to the left there, past where that tree is kind of covering it up, is where the port is at. Couldn't quite see it from the angle we were at.
And so this mosque was neat. I'm not Muslim. I don't really follow any religion, but I do consider myself a spiritual person. And I saw this mosque there, and I wanted to go in the mosque and pray just because I like to pray in old churches, which is what that was. And I stopped and I read the sign that says, "Please do not enter except to pray." And I was like, yeah, I'm not Muslim. I don't know if that counts. And this guy came up and he said, "Come on in, take your shoes off and come on in. We're about to pray." It was coming up on one of the 5 prayer times of the day.
Noon, I think.
Yeah,
Noon one.
noon.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, "Are you sure?" I'm not Muslim. He's like, "Yeah, come on in. You're welcome." And so I took my shoes off and we went in there and I got to experience a Muslim prayer time. This, we're looking, this photo is approximately in the direction of Mecca because the back wall of the mosque was where you kneeled in the mosque was facing Mecca. And it was just neat. He kind of explained what was going on. We knelt down in the back and he explained what was going on. And then when it was time for him to pray, he prayed. But what I liked about it was that whole notion of stopping and praying 5 times a day is neat. And everybody praying together just it feels like it would build community. And he explained he wasn't perfect at it. There's one early morning prayer where you've got to get up and clean your body before you can pray. And he's like, I don't do that all the time. But he said, we get up for God. And I just liked that idea.
So the next area we went was the weapon room area, and there was quite a lot of this. And we were starting to get a little tired at this point, I think. We'd been there for quite a while, but yeah, there were some pretty amazing weaponry and soldiers' uniforms and whatnot. Again, I think it really brought that whole Ottoman culture to light with the weapons that were there.
And I found the second weapon from the left rather ironic. It looks like a dove, which frequently symbolizes peace, on the end of this chopping weapon. Yeah, it was just ironic.
The chainmail was really neat.
Chainmail and armor.
Swords, and there was just tons of stuff in there. So if you like weaponry, this was a great area. And this was, as you can see in the painting behind it, this was armor wear for horses.
Yeah.
All gold.
And I'm sure this was all ceremonial armor. I don't think everybody who went into battle had a ornately engraved sword with the dove on it and a gold.
No, but I'm sure certainly,
its horse.
Yeah, that they were used in warfare.
Yep.
They were probably higher up in the hierarchy. But
yeah, more chainmail and helmets with that same minaret top. Oh, and the blue mosque.
so after that, we headed over. This is all right in the same like square area there.
Yeah.
So you leave the palace and you just head out of that area, and you first see the Hagia Sophia and then the Blue Mosque. So, but we went to the Blue Mosque after we did the palace, and we didn't have tickets or anything like that. You just get in line and
go in.
And I think it was free. I don't think we paid for the Blue Mosque, right? It's crowded in there.
Yeah.
Everybody, so you have to leave your shoes. They have little not lockers, but little cubbies, wood cubby structure where you put your shoes. So you leave them there, and then you can walk around and go to the different prayer areas. And
if you're worried about your shoes getting stolen, ours didn't get stolen.
No.
I've never heard that that's a problem.
I wouldn't steal somebody's shoes.
I did think, might be a good place to trade in my shoes.
So pretty amazing inside.
Yeah. Beautiful. So, yeah.
Yeah. And so Tom kind of wandered around a little bit more than I did. I kind of stayed in, a particular area. But as I was standing there, I happened to notice, so I'm going to leave this here so you guys kind of have to look at this. There was a pair of doves building a nest up above this lamp. And I just happened to glance up. I had seen the birds flying around, and then all of a sudden I saw them light on that lamp, and I was like, oh, wow, that's pretty neat. They were just starting to build the nest.
And just the symbolism I found to be beautiful. Doves that symbolize peace, building a nest in there.
And then as we were exiting, we were in there for what, maybe 20, 30 minutes kind of a
Yeah.
thing. As we were exiting this area, they had a lot of information boards about contributions of the Muslim community and
Yep.
different aspects of, if you were interested in learning more about the faith or whatnot. So this was a board about, things that had been invented by Muslims.
And when I was in school, I learned about some of it, but I really got a better understanding of the depth of the contributions that Muslim society has given to the world. And we don't really think about it, and it's almost feels like it's been kind of removed from Western education. But the thing that struck me is the numbers we use are Arabic numbers, our number system, and the symbols for our numbers are Arabic numerals, which are a heck of a lot easier to use than Roman numerals.
So then it was time for prayer again. So we got that captured. This is back at our hotel room. So off to day 3, and we got a variety. This was our last full day in Istanbul. So Tom went for morning coffee again.
I went and got some more coffee. Sat at the same table.
And we went to the Hagia Sophia this time, and like I said, we did buy tickets for this. So again, this is that same courtyard area where the Blue Mosque is at. They're all just right there together. But a lot of restoration work going on outside, and we went to the ticket office, and we just bought our tickets there. We didn't have them ahead of time.
Yep.
And they do, again, you do have to wear a scarf, ladies, no shorts, and your dresses have to be a longer length.
Yep.
But they have some, if you don't have that, they do have some gown things you can put on and whatnot. But so this is going into the Sophia.
The Hagia Sophia has been, or no, it's the Blue Mosque that was or both.
But this was, did have Christian.
This was a Christian church
at one time, yeah. So you're going to see a mix of the Muslim as well as the Christian part.
Yep.
Throughout this.
And the downstairs area, the floor area, was only for people who went in there to worship. And they made it very clear that building was primarily a church that they allowed tourists in. They allowed visitors in, but it was first and foremost a church.
Yeah, so not a lot of people down there, but you could not go in that floor section.
I asked, and I said, I'm not Muslim. Can I go in there? And they're like, nope. And so I did.
But it's just very grand inside, and
yeah, and ancient. I mean, you think about what that was like when those murals were new.
There's lots to see, and I thought it was good that there was a combination of the different faiths that were visible.
Yep.
To kind of give you a sense of that perspective over, centuries, right? This was a marble 6th century door where you cross it. And this was the area where as I recall, this was the area when you got past the door where you saw a lot more of the Christian reliefs and mosaics on the walls and whatnot.
But just enormous. Yeah, here's some Christian murals. And I thought this was interesting because it was a mural over an older mural. which I found that fascinating.
Yeah, 12th century mosaic. So this is interesting. So hopefully you can see this. So this was a column that has tilted over time. So it's tilting to the left in this photo. That caught everybody's attention.
Yep.
Probably one of the popular things to be photographed in there. But completely safe, apparently. That's the only one, yeah, only one I noticed that was
still hasn't fallen.
crooked. So again, just, it's all around you. You're trying to look up, you're trying to look down and whatnot. So this was as we were exiting that area. This was a cedar wood door with a coated in bronze. Huge door.
It was beautiful.
And so now we're exiting, and you can see, like I say, there's the Blue Mosque right across the way there. But as we were exiting, this is just that different, smaller pieces outside, and in particular, just like in Greece, there are cats. So there's a cat.
There's a cat.
He's like, just chilling out here.
Just hanging out.
He moved around a lot. He wanted to rest, and people wanted to pet the cat, and so he moved, trying to find his resting spot. So prayer time again. So after that, we went over to the Basilica Cistern, 6th century. This was amazing.
Yep.
This was amazing. And this first shot, this is the line. See the metal fencing there along the sidewalk in front of this building? That's the line you get in, and you're thinking, where is this?
Yeah.
Where are we going, right? So right by that brick with the white sign is where you enter. You buy your tickets in there. I think there was a line if you pre-purchase your tickets, but we didn't do that.
We didn't do that.
And you walk in, and then you walk down.
We waited, what, maybe 20 minutes?
Yeah, not very long.
Yeah, you go in and you go down the stairs.
It was amazing.
Man.
You're like, what is this? So they have all the colored lights in there, and you're seeing the water is what? Maybe 6 inches?
6 to 8 inches.
6 to 8 inches deep.
But very clear.
Oh yeah, absolutely clear. But they have the lights that are going on, and then they've got the informational boards and whatnot about the whole, water system structure. But this is where they were storing water.
Yep.
But up above is the street and the hotels and everything,
Yeah. That's me.
And so the lights would change. They'd be bright, then they'd be dark, then they'd be colored, and so it just kept changing. It really added a lot to it.
It was surreal when the lights were like this.
And so you're walking on these metal-like bridges, I guess you'd say, throughout the whole thing. And they kind of intertwine this way and that way through there. But you'll see here in this video, the coloring will start to change. And it's not that dark that, I think the video comes out darker, but it's not that dark that you can't see where you're walking.
No, there's plenty of light in there. But it's humid. If you don't want to get water dripped on you, you might want to wear a poncho or not go there.
Yeah, you can see it. Yeah, it drips on you. Not a lot, but it does drip on you in spots. So just different stuff. And I think they just kind of, put in these different columns because you'll see there's different styles of columns in there where they reuse parts of, columns that had collapsed or been torn down or whatnot. But see the drops in the water? So some areas were more than others. I really have had very few on me, but
Yeah, it's not a problem.
they've added a lot of, additional components to it, different art pieces that'll be coming up here in a minute. But then the lighting. I don't think there was sound. I don't remember there being sound in there.
No,
Yeah.
just the sound of the people in there.
So here's like a little art sculpture. They were like jellyfish. But here's a piece, yeah, that had been reused. Pretty neat.
I love that. And then this is an art piece that I believe had been put in later. But the sculpture on the left and then the shadow on the right.
And there's the piece that was contributing some to that. And more of these reused column pieces.
Yeah.
Columns with different designs on them. More additional art added in. I think those lit up different colors too, I think.
That was a neat shot.
Yeah, just a neat space. Again, just nothing I've ever been in. So it was really fascinating from that standpoint. So back to our hotel, and this is where we finally discovered that seagull had babies.
Yep.
And the interesting thing about this was that it was warm, and that was a metal roof.
Yeah.
And they kept moving to be in the shade. And I thought, oh, they're burning their feet. They gotta be burning their feet. But it was really odd that was the place that the mama picked.
It was neat. And what she would do is she would sit up on that roof in the earlier pictures and just keep an eye on her babies.
Yeah, yeah. And they try to, like I say, keep moving in the shade. So our last night in Istanbul, and we're kind of roaming around trying to find something to eat. And much to my surprise but appreciation was this restaurant. So I'm going to recommend this restaurant, the Red River Restaurant. And it was all based on John Wayne and Western memorabilia inside. But it was Istanbul food.
Yep.
Turkish food.
Turkish food.
But the whole atmosphere, that American country music playing, movie posters, and you were just like, what is this? This was pretty nice. Because like I said, I was really hesitant on the food.
We were walking around, we would just walk around and be like, yeah, this looks good. But Sherry looked in the window and saw this place and said, I want to go in there for dinner. And I thought, I think she's getting homesick.
But it was great food. And the decor was great. The music was great.
Service was great.
Yeah, it was a great place to go. And they did have outdoor seating too, so if you were inclined to do that. But we tried a little bit of everything. We got way more food than we could eat.
Yep.
But we got this little appetizer, a couple different appetizers that we got, which were great.
We didn't get a picture of the bartender, huh?
No, I don't think so.
With a cowboy hat and a beard.
Yeah, we didn't.
He looked like he could have been out of a Western tourist town in Nevada.
True. Just a neat place. And we sat right there, and that's when these electric trains go by.
Rolling by.
Subways or whatever you want to call them. I guess they wouldn't be subways if they're above ground. But there was a lot to see just watching, going down the street. And then the meal.
That was my meal, I think.
Yeah.
I got like a bunch of, and Sherry got pretty adventurous.
Yeah, I love grilled fish, and that's pretty much what I stuck with.
Yep.
Once I got past my chicken fingers, I went with the grilled fish, and it was really good. I was thankful to see that my first day in Istanbul. Oh. And then, of course, we had desserts, creme brulee, and type you had, right?
Yep.
And then mine was baklava. And then we had Turkish tea.
And they brought out this Turkish tea, and it was kind of it was obviously hot, and it was kind of an apple juice, spiced apple juice type tea. It was very good.
So that was our last night in Istanbul, and then so day 4, we were going to the Istanbul airport, and we were flying back to Rome for our second cruise on the Norwegian Epic. So we left our hotel. We arranged for a taxi, but before we left,
There's the
there's
seagull
the seagull
babies.
babies. This is in the morning.
Little fuzzballs.
So we had breakfast. We pretty much had breakfast every morning at the hotel buffet, and it was quite an assortment of crazy stuff you wouldn't think would be breakfast food.
It was just whatever.
Yeah, with a little bit of everything.
Broccoli, French fries, some different kinds of sausage, hard-boiled eggs, and
That was the buffet.
that was the buffet.
But you could order off the menu though, and so I did that once, I think. So our ride, this is our ride to the airport. It was a luxury SUV.
But it was just an Uber.
Yeah.
We ordered an
Yeah.
Uber, and this is what showed up.
Pretty fancy.
Pretty very fancy.
Lights, see the colored lights, neon lights.
Yeah.
LED lights, I guess you'd say, actually. But yeah, a nice guy. But yeah, it was a little plush ride to the airport.
Yep.
And this is arriving up at the airport, which was huge. We'd never been here
Enormous.
before. Like I say, we came in on the cruise, but just interesting structures, and it was just a big. That reminded me something out of Star Wars. But once we got through, I mean, it's like a huge shopping mall. I mean, there's just like all kinds of food and tourist places. They had a museum and whatnot, but yeah.
Carl's Jr.
Yeah, we've stopped. We wanted to get something to eat. Popeyes. I had Popeyes.
I had Carl's Jr.
And Tom had Carl's Jr.
It was, but yeah, it was just a big food court.
Yeah, big food court area. Um, and off to our gate. But like I said, it was huge. It took us a while to get to our gate.
Well, we got there several hours early.
Oh, yeah,
We like to get to the airport early, so we're not stressed out rushing. And it was a nice leisurely trip through there, but it took probably 2 or 3 hours to get to our gate. Not that we were like, okay, we got to go to our gate, but
Oh no, we were kind of leisurely. Yeah. I mean, we were a little confused on where to go and how to check the bags. That was a different process than what we were used to. We flew Turkish Air. We'd not ever flown Turkish Air before, so it took a little while to get there. But like I said, yeah, we kind of had some coffee, and we went and got some lunch before we got on the plane, and gave us plenty of time to get to the plane. So. And we all sometimes we like getting there early just to watch what's going on at the airport. So this is, they have it's like a little freeway of these cars, how they're maneuvering around. So it was quite something. Yeah, it was uh, just a hustle and bustle of airport activity. Yeah. Very well coordinated, so it was interesting to watch all of that.
A couple 100,000 people flying in and out of Istanbul airport each day. So that's why there's a good hustle and bustle going on there.
So that's our last photo there. So that was our 3.5 days in Istanbul. So we had a good time and just a new experience for sure.
Yep, a new experience. The exotic nature of it didn't disappoint, and it felt very safe. And I knew it felt safe because Sherry got comfortable walking around there, and she's a whole lot more cautious than I am. Yeah, it was extremely safe. The one thing that got a little annoying was the vendors were ruthless in trying to get you to go into their store. And
yeah, that's true.
It was like, I'm not interested in going in there, leave me alone, and they follow you down the street.
Yeah, I mean, you try to be polite and whatnot, and after about a day and a half of that, you're kind of like, all right, I'm not even going to say anything
I'm not
now.
even going to be polite anymore. Yeah.
So just be prepared for that. We did not go to the Grand Bazaar. It didn't fit in our schedule to do that. Tom said he is planning another trip to Turkey here soon, and I'm sure him and his friend will be going there.
We will go to the Grand Bazaar.
Yeah. So we're gonna have an Istanbul, Turkey, I guess, video number 2, but it'll be down the road a little bit. We still have other videos to do from our second cruise on the Norwegian Epic that will be coming up. I believe our next one is going to be Athens, Greece. So that'll be coming up pretty soon, and a few other stops along the way. I think we have maybe five more videos or so of our Mediterranean tour. So thanks for joining us, and we will see you in the next video, like I say, which will be Athens, Greece. So if you're enjoying the videos or you're planning a cruise, we hope you subscribe to the channel and like the video, and we'll see you next time.
And if you have any questions, leave it in the
That's true.
comments. We'll be happy to answer it.
The best we can. So thanks again. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Ciao. Because I don't know how to say goodbye in Turkish.
Yeah.